I always felt the character of Sita in Ramayan as unfortunate. This makes me get fumed with the male characters. Even today, people want a woman like Sita. Don't you think it is unfair for a woman to go through such trials and tribulations?
Okay, Ramayana is full of idealized characters. Interestingly enough, even the villain is somebody who's idealized with just one single fatal flaw, Ravana. All the others are described as the ideal husband, the ideal wife, the ideal son, the ideal brother, the ideal, whatever. So there are two different ideal brothers here. There is an ideal brother in Lakshman and there is another ideal brother in Bharat, etc., etc. Now, is that really an ideal to aspire to? No idea. Because, as we have seen before in some other questions, the concept of the ideal itself keeps changing from time to time, even for the same person. So, if somebody is trying to quote Sita to you and is trying to guilt you into being like Sita, they are simply doing it for their own selfish purposes. Unless you are inspired by Sita and want to be a Sita, there is no big deal in being a Sita. And what does being a Sita mean? Being a Sita means that you subscribe to certain specific tenets that you will follow, and it also tells you how to face a particular difficulty when it comes in front of you. And interestingly enough, even though this is not talked about, Sita does talk about the injustices that she is subject to. For instance, when Ram asks her to go through, Agni Pariksha actually came up a little later. Prior to that, Ram says, okay, now that I have taken care of the name of my clan, you are free to go wherever you would like because you have been in a stranger's house for so many months and I cannot accept you back. And she talks about it. It is there in the Valmiki Ramayana. Then again, uh, at the time when Rama comes back and in Valmiki's ashram finds Lava and Kush, etc., and when Sita actually gets upset and asks the Mother Earth to swallow her back, there is the talk where she explains how things have been and how it's not fair. But given all of that, she stoically allowed circumstances to not affect her mental well being and she continued to do her duty by everything else that needed her. For instance, she did not stop being a good mother just because she was sent away to the forest by Rama. These are the things that you should be looking at if you get inspired by Sita. But rest assured, do not ever be guilted into looking at something as ideal as your idol simply because somebody else believes that that's what you should do.